What up? We got some bad news coming out of the rack today. Reports from the Chicago Sun-Times say 3 men were shot and wounded Saturday afternoon in Little Village. A 35-year-old man we know is THF BAYZOO was shot multiple times in the torso and was taken in critical condition to Mount Sinai Hospital, police said. The recent passing of Terrence THF BAYZOO Dennis has cast a somber light on the fragile boundary between the street and music life in Chicago's Englewood neighborhood. BAYZOO, a prominent figure associated with the notorious Black Mob/THF 46 collective, was known for his candid commentary on street life, often through appearances on podcasts and social media. His background, marked by a cycle of incarceration, including a stint where he claims he was transferred back to juvenile detention after serving time in an adult facility, painted a picture of a life inextricably linked to the perils of the streets, dating back to his youth in the Cabrini Green projects. BAYZOO's connection to rap superstar Lil Durk, the leader of the Only the Family OTF collective, was seen by many as a lifeline. Durk has often been credited with attempting to transition associates from the violence of the streets into legitimate work through his successful music enterprise. For a time, this seemed to offer a path to stability and fame for individuals like BAYZOO. However, the narrative of upward mobility was reportedly fractured following Lil Durk's own legal troubles, which culminated in his 2024 arrest and subsequent charges related to an alleged murder-for-hire plot. Federal prosecutors have controversially portrayed OTF as both a music label and a criminal street gang, alleging Durk orchestrated a retaliatory hit. The vacuum and uncertainty created by Durk's legal entanglement and prolonged incarceration have been alleged by some community observers and on online forums like Reddit to have had a devastating ripple effect. Without Durk's continuous influence, financial backing, and structure to keep associates focused on music and away from old habits, members of his extended circle, including those from THF, reportedly began to drift back toward the street activity that had defined their youth, a regression that, for some, has had fatal consequences. The recent tragic event involving BAYZOO, a man who had seen his life played out on both the block and the blog, underscores the brutal reality that for many, the pull of the streets remains stronger than the promise of success, especially when the key architect of that success is sidelined. R.I.P. BAYZOO. The Chicago rap scene and the internet has quickly become the primary and most volatile forum for investigation. On the notorious Reddit thread r/Chiraology, a community dedicated to dissecting the intricacies of Chicago's drill and street culture, speculation is rampant. Digital detectives are furiously connecting decades-old beefs and recent rap lyrics, pointing fingers at potential culprits and dissecting the possible motives behind BAYZOO's fatal encounter. Here's a breakdown of the two most dominant theories being debated on the thread. Theory 1. The most immediately cited theory on the subreddit is a simple, grim one: retaliation from a rival faction. BAYZOO was a high-profile member of THF 46, a collective with deep, long-standing alliances with other powerful groups in the city, notably O-Block and other allied sets. For years, the musical success and unifying power of Lil Durk, the leader of OTF, reportedly helped enforce an uneasy truce, or at least a redirection of energy, away from overt street violence and toward the music business for his associates. However, with Durk's recent high-profile legal troubles, including charges related to an alleged murder-for-hire plot, his stabilizing force has been removed. The prevailing view on r/Chiracology is that Durk's absence created a dangerous power vacuum. Commenters suggest that younger, less disciplined members of rival groups, or perhaps older heads who never truly forgave past transgressions, saw this as the perfect, low-risk opportunity to strike. BAYZOO, being a well-known figure who had successfully transitioned into media appearances, made him a visible, high-value target for any faction seeking to send a brutal message. The motive is viewed purely as payback for historic beefs, exploiting a moment of organizational weakness. A darker, more complex narrative is also circulating on the threads. that the killer may have come from within BAYZOO's own extended circles. This theory directly implicates the breakdown of order and loyalty following Lil Durk's arrest. The speculation: for many associated with THF, Durk was not just a friend, he was an economic engine. His success meant consistent work, cash flow, and a degree of insulation from street life. When that source of stability was disrupted by Durk's incarceration, the threads holding the collective together are believed to have begun to fray. In this scenario, BAYZOO's death is interpreted as the result of a power struggle or financial dispute. Commenters theorize that BAYZOO may have been trying to assert himself as an independent figure or leader in Durk's absence, clashing with others vying for the same control. Disputes over money, resources, or the handling of assets linked to the organization could have led to irreconcilable differences. His increasingly public persona, coupled with the uncensored nature of his interviews, may have led to him knowing too much or exposing details that put others at risk, leading to a calculated decision to silence him. While the r/Chiracreology community thrives on definitive answers, the reality remains shrouded in conjecture. The tragic trajectory of BAYZOO, a man who survived years in the trenches only to be allegedly caught in the crossfire of renewed conflict or internal turmoil, underscores the fragility of any escape from the street life. For the moment, the only truth agreed upon in the digital forums is a grim echo. When the gravitational pull of a leader like Durk is suddenly lifted, the center cannot hold, and the people he works so hard to elevate often tragically revert to the old ways.